you usually, what are you wanting to escape from? I suppose, and you usually take yourself with you. You can sort of convince yourself, that things are different.
Amazing posters.
Yeah, I was just
Thank
looking at
you.
that.
My walls of pop culture madness, as
Amazing.
they are, is a little bit of everything. It feels like, but it's this is great. Honestly,
Mine
thank
is
you.
my sunglasses fetish. I realized.
See, that's
Remind you.
fantastic. I always lose mine. That's a good system right there. I
Yeah.
literally don't buy the expensive ones because they're gone like the next day.
No,
I
they're
lose
not.
them.
None of those are expensive.
They look good, but that's great.
Thanks.
Honestly, Sam, Stacy, thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it. Islands is such a wonderful film.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks.
This really is something that I didn't expect it was going to be. Like this is one of those films that I kind of about halfway through it, without giving any spoilers, it takes a different direction that feels true to the film at the same time. It doesn't feel like a change for change's sake. I really appreciate the journey these characters are on, but what is it that appealed to you about being a part of the film? What excited you about Tom and Anne?
I'll be quick. For me, I loved the genre of it, and I loved the I read the script, and I as much as I could see who Tom as a character was, and I could see who everyone else was. Sorry, I struggled to know who Anne was, and that was exciting to me because I thought this film is also about how we project onto one another and how we expect from the other. And I was excited to explore those themes. And there's something also extremely visual about the story. And Yanole set in Fuerteventura, which we came to discover while we were shooting it being extremely charged with a very specific energy, but it was also extremely beautiful. So there's like a mix of deciding factors, I'd say.
Yeah. Same for me, really. I mean, when I read it, I felt like it was the best role I'd read that I had a chance for in a very long time, too many years. And I knew Jan Ola lived in Berlin. I loved his other two films. I love the genre. It reminded me of it. It sort of reminded me of like movies from the 70s or 60s, or it had noir, which I love. It had this mystery. It was grown up. It's yeah, it's just I mean, for me, it's just a fabulous character. It's just a dream gig. I got free tennis lessons. Um, he told me to stay in the sun all summer. I'm a bit of a lizard. I was done with the sun by the end of it, but I enjoyed being that brown, I have to say.
I would you both brought up the island itself for different reasons in different ways, and that is so much a part of this film is their relationship to is it am I saying it right? Fuerteventura?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, which is this fascinating tension. And I love the question that seems to arise about being on a permanent vacation. The struggle of that. And I wondered for you both, do you think that that is the sort like is that a thing that there would be this dark side to a permanent vacation or are we blowing it out of proportion?
I mean, I think there's definitely a system to it, which I think people when you go on holiday, you're there for a certain amount of days, whereas we were filming there. And so we stayed actually longer than most holiday goers would be. So you start to see patterns of behavior, you start to see waves of different nationalities come in, you start to see the behind the doors. And I think seeing the system of it and seeing how as much as you want to feel that it's unique, it actually isn't unique to you. It's just what that resort provides. And I think the film brings that in as well a little bit because it's also the sort of the endless repetition and the endless sun is actually not as romantic and not as happy as you think it is. It's a construction.
Yeah, and it's also an escape, isn't it? That's not necessarily you usually, what are you wanting to escape from? I suppose, and you usually take yourself with you. You can sort of convince yourself, that things are different, and it can give you the illusion that you are having a break, you are not in your real life, and all of that sort of stuff. And I think also the behavior of Tom, the heavy drinking, is also another form of escape, or a refusal or a reticence to answer, to confront life, or what problems there might be, or whatever. And holidays are quite good for that.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Sam, because Anne puts it to Tom at one point, and she says, "What are you running from?" And I'd love to know what you think, if anything, what he's running from.
I, sup- I suppose this, and it's kind of corny, but I suppose it's himself, honesty, I suppose, honesty to some extent. I think he's sort of going through life being reassured by people who come for 2 weeks, see his life, think it's magic, think he's attractive, think his life is attractive. And before they realize that it's not, they've gone, and the next ones come, who fall for the illusion that helps keep him along. He doesn't have to ask questions about, he's sort of called Ace, so he's sort of always, but it's like a double-edged sword. He's sort of, it makes him feel good, but at the same time, it's a reminder of his failure to reach his potential to some extent, I suppose, or whatever that is, which is the first time I think in years he questions himself for any longer than till the hangover's worn off, is when this family arrive, and he's then forced to sort of ask himself whether this is it, did I make the right decisions?
Yeah, it's interesting for a guy who's called Ace. He seems to be struggling to find his place, which I didn't mean to rhyme intentionally there, but there. Um, and he's got this fascinating tension with Anne, Stacy, and I would love to know, since we had just talked about this tension of vacation, in your mind, is the connection between Tom and Anne, is it real? Or is there something else in this that isn't quite as honest as Sam is saying that Tom is looking for honesty?
I think there is a reality to it, and I think there is a connection. Otherwise, I don't think the I don't think she would have gone back
Right.
necessarily. But I think and it's something that we explored a lot as well on set through moments of silence and through glances is whatever that connection is, how do we also distort it and make people interpret different things? And you can have a connection, but it's also about what they think it is and are unable to
Yeah,
communicate with each other. And I think that
yeah,
tension is really interesting with those two characters because they're in completely opposite points of their lives, and yet there's something about them where they're looking for comfort in each other, but they'll never admit it, which is quite sad in a way, but I think creates a lot of tension and a lot of sort of this sort of the thriller pace of the film is kind of run through that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that the I want to use the term call and response, but it's not the correct term. But this back and forth, I guess, if you will, between the two of you, but also with the gentleman who plays Dave. Forgive me, I cannot remember his
Jack.
name.
Jack Farthing.
Jack.
Jack
Yeah.
Farthing, yeah.
The three of you together have this every scene together feels like you're speaking even when you're not. And I think that works well. I was wondering for you, I mean, as you're a whole team, was that created intentionally, or was that just sort of as a result of being away together in this incredibly beautiful scenery?
I mean, a lot of it's in the script, which is what was so which was what was so interesting about wanting to play it. But I think also we realized when we were there that we didn't have to say a lot of the things that were in the script. You know, a script always has everything in it, and then when you start rehearsing or when you start trying the scene out, you realize you're saying things without having to say them. It becomes even more ambiguous, more real, more like real life. And then there's a tension between the men as well, this sort of curiosity about the other, what the other has, and would each of them be more satisfied or more fulfilled if they had the life that the other's leading. And they're all lost, I think, to some extent. I think that was also why Jan Ola liked the title of Islands. These, and the Canaries has these sort of, I mean, completely different atmospheres, all of the islands, but they're each unable to connect with one another, and they're all struggling in similar ways, kind of.
Yeah, they really are. I love that they're everybody seems to be wrestling with their own issues and yet caught in each other's web, if you will. It's
Yeah, and
pretty.
hoping the other can fix it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. I hadn't thought of that. They seem to be looking for answers in the other person, in the other
Yeah.
people, I guess. Yeah. I do have to ask. I feel like I do need to ask this. Sam, how's your tennis? Uh,
It was non-existent when I mean everything about the role I adored, but I was slightly nervous about the fact that I'd never played tennis before. But the beauty of one of the great things about acting is that you get to learn from really talented people without having to pay for it for in like an intense period of period of time. And I developed a real love for it. I think Janola was quite disappointed that when I'd done my final service scene, which I'd been stressing about, Stacy will attest to that. Apparently, I just dropped the racket and left and didn't touch one for about a year. But my son plays every week since me taking him with me to lessons where I would learn how to teach kids. And so that, one of us is playing. It's a
oh, that's it.
beautiful game. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
No, go ahead, please. Sorry.
no, that was it. I did really enjoy, I really enjoyed it. But there's a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself because playing a guy who wakes up not knowing where he is, I can do. But the tennis thing I knew might be the weak link in my performance, I suppose. Um, yeah.
Uh, I never thought about that tension of not only learning how to play, but learning how to teach. But yeah, there's that as well.
It was a
Honest,
it was a beautiful thing to have to learn, I have to say.
But you did it really well because some people on the resort would confuse you for the actual tennis coach. So,
Yes,
something,
yeah, that did happen.
yeah.
yeah.
Few extra quid.
Honestly, it's a fabulous film. There's a real depth to it, and I really appreciated that. You were both fantastic. And I appreciate the chance to chat with you about it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you
Thank
talking to us.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.